Good afternoon. I'm Gloria Nelson with TUG, and we're so glad to have you join us today for our TUG Connects 365 programming. As you settle in and get ready to begin today's webinar, let me give a brief introduction for TUG, the usergroup.org, for both our current members and those of you who represent organizations that have not yet joined our online community of in-for distribution software users. Now, we've all heard that phrase that knowledge is power, and I can say with the utmost confidence that after today's presentation, you'll be waking up tomorrow with a little more of both. TUG webinars, online forums, and member events facilitate the timely exchange of ideas and information to help you work smarter and with more confidence. And that is a powerful combination. If you're currently a member, it pays to also get more involved. And if not, please visit our website at www.theusergroup.org to discover why 2,300 heads are better than one to help you be the best at what you do. Now, before we get started, let me just touch base on some housekeeping information. Buckle up for a wonderful presentation from WebPresented. Drop your questions into the Q&A bubble on your toolbar, and also feel free to chat. If you see someone, that's online, give them a shout out and say hello, as we know we're all deeply having a need to connect with one another. We monitor both of those fields, so I'll be looking for any of the questions that populate. Now, regarding intellectual property, the folks at WebPresented have given us permission to go ahead and take screenshots of anything that you would like, as well as to capture any chat history by simply cutting and pasting. So now, without any further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce James Gerdes, President and CEO of WebPresented. James, always a pleasure to see you. So go ahead and take it away.
Thanks so much, Gloria. And again, thanks for everything you and the folks at TUG do. We're huge supporters of TUG. I've been sponsors for 13 years now, and think it's a fantastic forum for ERP users to come together, share ideas, like you said, especially at these times. So today what I'm going to go through is the quoting and order entry process that WebPresented has developed, that's used extensively among distributors running in-for ERP. What I'm going to walk through today is a quick introduction to WebPresented. Who are we? Why do we exist? Why do customers choose WebPresented? And then I'm going to go into our quoting and order entry tools. What makes WebPresented's quoting different from, say, entering quotes into a ERP platform or entering quotes into a spreadsheet, and how we solve a lot of common problems among distributors. I'll talk about some case studies of how WebPresented has helped in-for ERP distributors solve many, many common quoting and order entry problems. And then I'm going to jump into the heart of the demonstration. A live clickable demo of a customer's instance of WPCRM. I'm going to walk through a typical scenario of writing quotes, creating orders, some of the advanced tools, and some of the benefits of using WebPresented as a quoting platform above and beyond, let's say, a spreadsheet, or above and beyond the in-for ERP itself. I'll certainly leave time at the end for Q&A, as well as have a couple breaks throughout the demo, so that any questions that are asked, please enter them as you think of them, and enter them into the Q&A section, and we'll read those out throughout in a couple of opportune moments throughout the demo. Very quickly, who are we, WebPresented? Well, we are a wholesale distribution focused software company. We have been serving the distribution industry since 2003. We come up with a perfect blend of knowledge, deep industry knowledge of distribution, as well as cutting edge software and consulting methodologies and practices. Around about 8 years ago, we pivoted from becoming a consulting company to building out our own CRM platform. What we found was a lot of customers were implementing these highly expensive, well-known CRM platforms such as Salesforce or Dynamics, but their adoption rates, the success rate of their CRM platform was amazingly low. And so over the time, we realized that in order to gain adoption, not only in CRM, but also in any line of business application, such as a quoting tool, connectivity is number one most important thing, above and beyond the name of the software you purchase. So we built a platform with connectivity at its roots. Connectivity to your ERP system, connectivity to your Office, Exchange, Google, connectivity to your e-commerce website, marketing platform, all of the above. So we have a single hub in which your users can manage their activities with their customers. The quoting platform itself, it's both a browser-based tool that I'm going to share with you today, as well as a mobile app that runs on both Android and iOS. The platform is built on an enterprise-grade CRM. However, if CRM is not of interest to you guys, if you're purely interested in quoting, don't worry. Our platform is not purely CRM. We have many, many customers who use our tool as a standalone quoting and order entry layer that sits on top of their Infor ERP platform. Not only are we a highly effective and efficient transactional quoting and order entry platform, but we incorporate predictive analytics and true artificial intelligence to understand customers' buying habits and help the sales folks better improve that customer experience and grow profits and grow share of wallet within their customers. Before I get into the demo, everything we're going to focus on for the rest of the demo boils down to three fundamental principles. Number one, providing value. That value goes to your users. So when putting software in front of your end users, you really got to think about this in what's in it for me, what's in it for them when it comes to using a platform. And if every interaction of that software is not something that makes their life easier, saves them time, helps them grow their sales, then the software is not doing that user justice. Secondly, accessibility, the availability to get data from all those different systems I talked about at your users' fingertips and turn that data into true decision-making insights. And then finally, usability. If the software requires an instruction manual or a help guide, in our opinion, that's badly developed software. The software has to be usable, intuitive, simple enough that anybody can pick up a device and figure out their way around our platform with minimal training required. So a combination of those three factors takes us to where we are with WebPresented's CRM and quoting platform. As you can see, this is just a small sampling of our customers. We have over 100 Infor ERP customers running on the WebPresented platform, some of them using CRM, some of them using just the quoting components I'm going to show you today. We're not specific to a single industry. We go across multiple industries and work with any Infor ERP platform, whether it's SX.e, A+, Facts, Shims, Cloud Suite distribution, all of the above. It's seamless and a single unified user interface for WebPresented. Now, before I get into my demo, Gloria, I'd like to turn it over to you. We do have some polls, some poll questions, and we just want to gauge some user experience and some feedback. So the first question I'm going to put to you today is, number one, our quoting process, your current quoting process involves the following. Now, you can select one of these responses below. The first response is one and only one system of record. The second is 2 or 3 different systems that don't communicate with one another. Number 3 is multiple formats determined by the user delivering the quote. Or number 4 would be other. So if you could just take a quick moment and answer question 1, I'll provide the feedback momentarily. Okay, and it looks like the actually the majority is divided between 2 or 3 systems that do not communicate with one another, which is a very, very common scenario, as well as multiple formats determined by the user delivering the quote. Again, a very, very common scenario that we call the Wild West, and I'll get into that very shortly. Okay, well, let's jump into some of the nuts and bolts around why we're talking about quoting today. And that is some of the common pain points, the common scenarios we run into for the distribution companies, especially those running Infor ERP, are going to run into. And the first one is particularly prevalent among Cloud Suite distribution users, and that is the inefficiencies with entering data into the screen. Not only just simple quotes and simple pricing quotes for customers. But then if you start getting into slight more complexity, the ability to add non-stock items on the fly, to do your sourcing from different warehouses, get availability on the fly, vendor buyouts, the potentially of warehouse transfers, all of those items are extremely difficult to do in the ERP platform in and of itself. Not to mention the fact that it's not mobile friendly, it requires a convoluted login and is not a truly modern interface that is designed to get a user in and out in as quick a manner as possible. Like I mentioned before, the Wild West approach. What does that mean? Well, the majority of customers that we have prior to having WPCRM, their quoting was what we call Wild West. Typically, it was users that enter quotes on spreadsheet, on Word documents, they format it the way they want it, they pass it on to the customers, but it's operating in an island. There's no consistency among the input, the end output. There's no consistency among processes. There's no follow-up or visibility from the organization for the management to understand not only who is winning and losing quotes, but sometimes is it even worth quoting for this customer? If we've lost 9 out of the last 10 quotes from a single customer and they take a lot of time, is it even a profitable exercise to enter these quotes? Once a quote is done, what's our purchasing process look like? Where are the bottlenecks in the quoting process? What is the volume of quotes we're putting out? How are we quoting by product group, by product line? All of those insights and data points that can help you improve your business, improve the customer service and the efficiency of your business are not there if you have this Wild West approach. And now let's add one more common pain point in that you might not even realize it is a pain point right now, and that is the missed opportunity of upselling, cross-selling, and growing share of wallet. A customer is asking you for a quote. A lot of the time, you're just going to simply give them what they're asking for, which is fine. It's well and good. But if you have incorporated, integrated AI that can help you and help customers understand what they're not purchasing, what they should be purchasing to complement the other products in their basket, then you have a full-blown data-driven platform that's going to make your users smarter and provide that value to the users. So within WPCRM, again, I won't go through all these items because basically we solve each and every one of those problems. Real-time connectivity with your Infor ERP, as easy to use and as fast as using a spreadsheet, but with built-in workflows, capabilities, approvals. The addition to have VAs, kits, non-stock catalog items, all included in the quote, as well as consistency yet flexibility in the end, beautiful looking quote output, as well as highly integrated CRM features and functions, follow-up tasks, opportunity tracking, etc., as well as forecasting demand with your purchasing team. All of the above are going to be incorporated in the quoting demo that I'm going to give to you today. Going to take a quick break. Hopefully what the topics, the agenda that we're on right now is on point. Gloria, I'm going to turn it back to you to see if there's been any early questions from the initial opening introduction. And if not, then we'll go straight into a couple case studies and then into our demo. Gloria, over to you.
We do have one question, James. It says,
Okay.
Can you explain the method behind cross-sell suggestions when quoting?
Sure, absolutely. So yes, cross-selling and suggestions has evolved a long way in the last few years. Historically, traditionally, distribution ERP customers would have to manually go into their ERP and enter in cross-reference products that are opportunities for upsell, cross-sell, etc. Well, WebPresented takes out all of that data administration by using artificial intelligence. So effectively what we do is take a customer's 3-year sales history across all customers. And based on several factors going into that order history, we analyze the data and come up with recommended products and understanding based on the current customer's buying trends, both in the context of the existing order, the current quote that we're working on, as well as outside of that quote. What products are other similar customers purchasing that this customer is not purchasing? And if there's gaps or what we call white space there, then that's when we start making recommendations. I'll show you some live demonstrations of that. Great question. Thank you for the person who asked that question.
And that's all we have right now. So I'm going to turn things back over to you.
Very good. Let's just take three Info ERP customers. I'm going to go very, very quickly through these case studies before I jump into the live demo. So number one, Nichols, packaging, paper products, janitorial supply packaging company based out of Michigan. And they had in their business, there's a high demand for high volume quotes. Customers need price lists on a regular basis. There's a lot of volatility among pricing. So the need was for efficiency. In addition to efficiency, they wanted quotes that had a visual aesthetic. A lot of their products looked similar. So they wanted to include product images on the quotes. The integration with an e-commerce website allowed them to show their product images on the quote as well. They also had outside sales reps out at customers' facilities and using mobile devices where they wanted to create price quotes there and then, send them to their customers by email, get approval immediately, turn that quote into an order, not connected to their ERP platform. And then, of course, the ability to deliver high volume of quotes quickly and easily and share that among their growing team to get out quickly into the field. So that's number one. Number two, Shore Packaging, another customer based out of Chicago, big Infor SX.e user. Now, this customer is a little bit different. They use a lot of buyouts or non-stock items. And frankly, the ERP platform that they were using couldn't handle the level of non-stock buyouts and the workflows required to send a quote from a customer to customers. I mean, from a salesperson to customer service, to get purchasing involved, to research these non-stock items, to put vendor pricing together, come up with a recommended product, send it back to this customer service and back to the salesperson in order to send to the customer. It's a multi-role process that fits well into swim lanes. Using a platform like WP that has embedded, ingrained workflows was a fantastic choice for sure. We've improved their efficiency of quoting. All quotes are now consistently delivered through their WPCRM platform. Great adoption rate among the Shore team. And then finally, PPS Industrial. They're an industrial company. They have a lot of non-stock items, kits, vendor buyouts, VA items, if you're familiar with Cloud Suite and Infor SX.e. Their biggest problem upon moving to Cloud Suite interface is frankly, the time it takes to enter line item quotes. This customer had multiple hundred line item quotes that their customers were demanding of them every single day. And the number of people that it took to just simply put together these quotes by entering them into Cloud Suite was absolutely crippling to the business. There was no visibility on the different bottlenecks within the quoting process. And frankly, the volume of line items was not tailored to a time-consuming process. So WebPresented came in, they used WPCRM as an overlay to their not only the quoting, but also order entry within Cloud Suite distribution. Everything gets pushed back into Cloud Suite using the Ion API. And now there's a single point of entry for all inside sales and service team to enter their quotes and orders within PSS. Very good. Well, enough talk, enough preamble. Let's get straight into the product demonstration. So what I'm going to do now is jump over to a live product demonstration of WPCRM. And what you're seeing here is a simple dashboard. We have a demonstration, a demo system here. Pay no attention to the numbers. The dates are slightly out of whack, of course. This is a customer's test system. This is actually an SX.e customer that we're using their data. There's real-time connectivity to a real-time Ion API in the background. And I'm going to show you how all of this quoting features and functions are accomplished using WP. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, obviously, you can see dashboards, and we have different dashboards set up for different users. Common dashboards in the quoting process might be quotes that are due to expire in the next 2 weeks, quotes that have subsequent follow-up activities, maybe purchasing's unassigned quotes that they're working on, they're buying out, sales reps who are waiting on customers for approval. All those different types of roles and lists can be built and added to a dashboard for quick and easy access. But what I'm going to do first is jump over to our quoting screen. And within quoting here, you can see initially when I log into the system, we can see what were the recent quotes that we've been working on, any draft quotes, which quotes have recently been sent, as well as the ability to simply jump in here and start typing in the name of a customer, the name of a product, and see all of the available quotes to that customer. Now, of course, what I'm going to do is start from scratch, and I'm just going to simply come along and start a brand new quote. Now, in the case of this, it's obviously our system is extremely configurable. Of course, we can manage a single quote, we call a sales quote, that goes out to an individual customer. We also have the ability to have what we call job quotes, oftentimes used in building material distributors or electrical or industrial distributors, where they're bidding on public utility jobs and multiple bidders are working on the same bill of materials. So there's flexibility in how we set this up. In this particular case, I'm going to simply start typing in a customer name. Of course, the customer number comes up, and any listing of ship tos and contacts of this particular customer are going to pre-populate. Now, the minute I create the quote, of course, we're presented with an empty quote screen. And I'm just, for the purposes of simplicity, I'm going to remove some columns here so we simply show an empty grid. Now, what does this look like to you? Well, the answer to that is it's intentionally designed to look like a spreadsheet. Why does it look like a spreadsheet? Well, the answer to that is we polled over 1,000 end users that were building our quotes for a couple of our large customers. And we asked them, what is your preferred user interface if you had to build a quote from scratch? And the common answer was, we like working in grid format, we like working in spreadsheet format. So while it might look a little like a spreadsheet, you'll notice when I put my mouse, for example, in the product box and just start typing a part number, of course, we're predictively now searching the inventory for this particular customer's warehouse. Now, of course, I can take a look at the quantity available. I can see the list price on this particular product, but the split second I add it to my quote, we go out in real time to the ERP platform, populate description, vendor information, units of measure, as well as now ask me how many of this do we want. Now, of course, there's several columns here. Like I mentioned, spreadsheet, we're only showing the relevant columns, but if you look down, I can see how many are available at the warehouse, what the percentage is, even the ability to source from different warehouses. Okay, all well and good. I've added a line item to my quote. Where do we go from here? Well, of course, I can modify the quantity. Let's have a dozen of this item. And you'll notice, of course, immediately when I update the quantity, of course, the extended price grows as we expect it to. Now, of course, here the gross margin percent's automatically calculated based on the cost. And we're here at a healthy 60%. Let's drop that down to 50, and we'll see in real time, we adjust the selling price as well as the extended price. You'll notice actually once I dropped it down to 50, the selling price went to red. I'll get to that point later. Built into WebPresented's quoting tool is highly intelligent pricing optimization analytics. So based on customer, based on product, based on the visibility of this product, several artificial intelligence factors go into understanding some science behind what the recommended price is for this particular product for this customer. Let's go back to 61% margin, and now we're back in the green, and I'll get to that, explain that a little bit more. Of course, as I go through, let's go ahead and add a printer to this particular quote. I can see this one. Let's go down and pick this one. We can see how many are available in real time. Again, going out to SX.e, understanding quantity available, understanding units of measure available, the ability to quickly and easily build out our spreadsheet. Okay, all well and good for onesie, twosie, line items, easy to add, extremely fast and responsive. But how do we get a little bit smarter with our search? As well as the keyword search, which offers quick and easy access, we have built-in product search. And of course, here I can search by product groups, product categories, product lines, customer order history, customer part numbers, vendor part numbers, attributes on the particular product, such as size, width, any attributes you might have in your PIM or your website. In this particular case, I'm doing a simple search for red items in the networking product group. And of course, here's our list of products, and I can come in here and simply add items from this search list, and it's automatically going to go ahead and select them and add them to my quote when I choose to. All the while going out to ERP platform, pricing it in real time, getting availability back, going through price optimization and presenting it in the quote. Any notes, of course, that come back from the ERP are going to show up here as comments, as well as the ability for me to add attachments and add items to my quote as I go. So far, so good. I'll go ahead and save that quote. We've created a simple 5-line item quote. Now, as I get more complex throughout the process, you'll see how we can impact the visibility of this quote, how it looks to the customer. Now, of course, I can highlight a single item and click on the little box to expand that. Here I get a product image. I get some basic pricing metrics that can come in and understand where we should be pricing this particular item. I can get real-time availability from the ERP platform, understand not only how many do we have available, what the bin location is, what warehouse it is, even availability in other warehouses. You'll see here that any comments, any attachments, any approvals that are required are going to automatically come across on this particular item. In this case, we've got some customer notes that came across, and of course, this one is hazardous material. In addition to being able to simply take items from the ERP, of course, I can drag them around to the position I want in my particular quote, as well as be able to sort or filter items in my particular quote. So in this case, maybe I just want to look at items for this vendor right now. It's going to filter the list. It's going to tell me my totals for that particular vendor. I can bulk update these items. I'll get into that later on. The core understanding point here is the efficiency of which we're using the tool, as well as the built-in tools that your inside sales, your sales folks, or customer service is going to absolutely love when it comes to quickly and efficiently banging out quotes, sending to the customer, as well as making sure they're entered and synchronized up with your ERP platform. So let's take these top 3 items. And you'll notice when I highlight the items, I have the ability to group them together, to move them, to duplicate them, to simply bulk update pricing, etc. In this case, I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to call this paint products. Now that group's going to show not only on the quote itself, but it's going to show when we push it back into the ERP platform, it's going to be tagged with a little group so that we can obviously have subtotals. I can even use groups in terms of kits. If I want to have multiple components within that group, I can add them and only show this as one single line item on the quote if that's what I'm looking to accomplish. Again, we can edit the group, we can duplicate group, a lot of built-in efficiency measures to help us better operate and work around the quote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and now show you what, so we looked a little bit about the line items. Of course, I can skip over the header piece because most of this is pre-populated. Once we choose a customer and a ship to, of course, we know what the warehouse is. We know what this customer's terms are. We have multiple different quote templates that allow us to, for example, choose the look and the feel of how this particular quote is going to be displayed to the customer. I can choose contacts not only from Outlook, but also from my mobile phone or from your ERP platform or from built into the WP framework. Quickly hopping back to line items, not only can I, in this case, for example, source these items, I can see how many of these items are available from the current warehouse. I can choose other warehouses in which I want to select these line items from. And just with a simple click of a button, it allows me to choose where we're allocating this inventory from. Again, when that gets converted to an order, it automatically sets up warehouse transfers, split orders, vendor buyouts as needed, etc. Now, I talked a little bit before about the ability to use artificial intelligence. And right now, what I've shown you is an efficiency tool. And frankly, the efficiencies are one of our leading benefits of using WPCRM as a quoting platform. But what if alongside those efficiencies, we gave you Amazon.com style recommendation engine? You'll notice on the right-hand side, there's a link with a little light bulb on it that says show suggestions. If I click on that link, what the system does is it goes out and analyzes the current basket. And based on the current basket, it puts together recommendations of what items go well with these items. Again, leveraging historical sales data. not necessarily using cross-reference product setup in the ERP, but now it tells me, for example, I've got some spray adhesive added to my quote here. Well, guess what? The folks who typically buy the adhesive may also be interested in buying this remover as well that goes along with it. So just as easily, a couple clicks, it allows me to start upselling, growing the share of wallet, promoting products to my customers that they might not have even been aware that we sell. And then, of course, growing margins and profitability for the organization as well. So suggested products are a huge part of WebPresented's features and benefits to the end user here. Now, let's talk a little bit about the shipping and totals. Of course, we've already selected a ship to here. We've got the default shipping method as set up in the ERP platform. And of course, I can add in a discount. I can put together add-ons just like you would in the ERP platform. Whole system is designed as an overlay over your ERP to make it more efficient, more effective, and of course, deliver beautiful looking quotes. Now, let's just say, for example, we wanted to take a look at what this particular quote looks like. So what I'm going to do again, I'm going to simply choose the download button. And based on all of the customer information, all the product information that we have on this particular quote, the output of this quote is going to be a beautiful looking PDF file. It's going to be branded with obviously your customer's logo, customer information. In this particular case, we've got the EBP supply template. We've got terms and conditions there. We've got page numbers. We've got notes included as well as subtotals for our quote here. Now, of course, that's just one example. Let's just say, let's move this product up to the top, this particular spray adhesive product. And you'll notice here that I have a product image for this particular item. If I come down and choose the link that says include the product image on the line item, and of course we can default that to be set to true, then we're going to now see the exact same nice looking quote, but this time we have a product image on it so that the customer knows exactly what they're getting. Very important if you have some highly complex, if you want to include diagrams or product information, you have a lot of product that look somewhat similar. Again, we pull that product image from your existing website or PIM e-commerce presence. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Finalize and how do we go ahead and push this out to our customers. Well, if I go to the Finalize and Send option, you'll notice here that automatically we're bringing across a single quote as a nice looking PDF attachment. We've already selected our customer contact. You notice that I can actually choose, if I given the correct permissions, I can send it from myself, or I can even send it from the outside sales rep so that it gets more traction, so it's coming from a more recognizable individual. As well as the ability to attach additional files. We have a template here that's going to go out and replace these merge fields with the customer's name. Of course, I can edit this as I go through. And just in a few clicks, just like that, we have the ability to not only send the quote to our customer, but also generate an order out of that quote, push this quote into the ERP platform. So there's no duplicate data entry. There's no additional data entry at all required. In fact, the salesperson doesn't even need to be in the ERP platform in order to use this quoting and order entry overlay. Okay, well, I've covered a lot of ground here already. I think what the best thing to do will be to turn it over now to Gloria. And I think we have a second round of poll questions. So if you wouldn't mind sharing that second round of poll questions, and it's going to be a nice little segue into the wrap up of this particular demo. And the question here is not only based on what I've gone through so far, but based on your previous, experience of your business. What factors or why would you consider adopting a new quoting program, new quoting application? So option number one, faster and more intuitive. Allow your staff to be more productive. Number two, to receive better analytics to understand the sales rep productivity, customer win-loss ratios, etc. Number three, to utilize important data from your e-commerce, your PIM, order history to create custom professional quotes with terms, specs, pictures, etc. Number four, all of the above or any other votes. So if you could just take a moment to click on the response that makes sense to you, then I'll read back the answers as soon as they come through. And looks like the number one choice was all of the above, which is, hate to say it, but that's the correct answer. There's number one, there's also a decent showing for the first one, which is just faster and more intuitive, allowing your staff to be more productive. I will say that I talked a little bit about a case study, a company called PPS. They're not the only customer on Cloud Suite distribution that we work with. There's several other customers that are, their inside sales team, the morale among that team is just utterly down through the floor. They get in early, they finish the day late. The amount of time they spend waiting for between screen clicks, waiting for pop-up screens, multiple clicks just to simply enter a line item, let alone a non-stock or create a VA, let alone a kits or bundles or involving purchasing. So certainly faster and more intuitive is a very legitimate and valid answer there. Okay, I'm going to just show a few more analytics pieces of the quoting platform before I turn it over to the final Q&A. So we talked a little bit about the ability to search for products. Well, not only can I search for products, but I can also get detailed specs, detailed analytics on any given product. So as we're going through the quoting process, not only can I, for example, get all the information that we previously saw from the ERP platform, but there's a lot of detailed information as well. So just looking at this customer and this product, we can see not only the availability I showed you earlier, vendor rebate information, price discount record, is what's this customer's price? What's this customer's sales history for this item? What are other similar customers buy this product for? What's the win-loss rate of quotes for this customer, and how many times have we lost this a quote on this product based on pricing, for example? I talked a little bit about what we call the price bands inside of WPCRM, and that's where based on our existing products here, you'll see the sale prices are all green, yellow, or red. Well, this is a great way of introducing smart pricing to your sales team. In this case, we've actually teamed up with a third-party price optimization platform. We actually integrate with multiple price optimization platforms. In this case, it's a company called SparksIQ that do something called price bands. And based on several metrics that go into several different factors, it effectively takes the guesswork out of pricing for the salesperson. Traditionally, historically, distribution companies have lost a lot of money, left a lot of money on the table by sales reps using what we call a cost plus pricing methodology. In other words, they take a look at the cost and they bid it out at, let's say, a 20 or 25% margin. Well, that's great. That at least guarantees margin, at least guarantees the lights can stay on tomorrow. But what it doesn't do is optimize that pricing and set the right price for that customer. Using cost as a basis point for the price is oftentimes selling yourself short, when you could actually get much better pricing for a specific product based on the visibility, the segmentation, pricing environment, several other factors. So by obfuscating and obscuring a little bit the margin and simply distilling it down to green, yellow, red options, it really takes the guesswork out of this for a lot of the sales team. And it starts, you'll notice that the average order size in terms of the average price is actually going to increase by using this type of methodology. The final piece I'm going to show you is where we can start doing analysis and searches based on quotes. I haven't showed you too many of our reporting and metrics yet, but suffice it to say that I can take a look and build a search or build a criteria for all quotes that we've either sent, that we've got orders converted, that we've lost business, etc. So just as a simple search, I'm going to take a sales rep, let's take Vic here, and find all the quotes that Vic sent in the last year or so, however long this particular platform's demo platform's been running. So we go out and of course we analyze the number of quotes, and here we got 160 quotes that Vic has sent out. You'll see a lot of them have the ERP quoting ID associated with them. From within here, of course, I can drag, drop, I can highlight multiple items. I can select, for example, the status. I can merge some quotes together. I can do bulk updates based on certain fields. All of those quick and easy usability metrics that allow us to get in and out of the system as quickly and effectively and efficiently as possible. Of course, I can export this to Excel. I can build a report, pin this to my dashboard, you name it, list out any of the metrics that we want to search on, including advanced search filters, such as the ability to, customers win-loss ratio. How many open orders do we currently have? How many quotes have we sent in the last X number of days? So a lot of metrics and analysis tools to help us drill into our data. Okay, so let's just recap before we get into the final Q&A. WebPresented, a lot more than just a CRM. And again, a lot of our customers don't use our CRM capabilities, but purely use a tool for quoting features and functions. The integration points are critical, not only to your Infor ERP, BI tools that allow us to do pricing optimization, data analysis, integrated with Outlook and Exchange, and we can pull in emails, of course, create quotes from emails. Tied into your e-commerce website to bring in product images. Marketing automation can use the data and bring in data. We also have field service mapping, etc. So the platform is designed not just for the sales team, but for purchasing to be involved, customer service to be involved, inside sales, sales management, all of the above, using a tool, and it hums along so that everyone's on the same page. Okay, very good. Let's turn it back over to the audience. Gloria, if you wouldn't mind letting me know if we do have any other questions before we wrap up for the day. I'm happy to respond.
We sure do. I actually have a bunch from Crystal. The first two from her really, the first one dovetails into the second one for a little bit more detail. She says, can you add non-stock or temporary items to a quote? In order to clarify, she says, we use fax and we are able to quote products loaded into our ERP, but also able to add products we do not stock, but are also able to sell.
Great question. I wish I had remembered to do that part. So yes, absolutely. Let's go back to our quote really quick. And let's just say by the way, a lot of our customers use the non-stock functionality of WebPresented very, very in depth. So I'm going to put in a custom box that I'm adding to this quote. You'll notice that there's no results returned, but immediately under that, it's going to ask me do I want to add this as a non-stock item. This does not exist in the ERP platform. So the moment I add it, you'll notice here it says NS. That means non-stock. So maybe this is a 6 by 6 by 6 cube cardboard box, let's just say. I can choose who the vendor is. I can put in a unit of measure. I can put in a cost from the vendor, of course. Maybe I want 100 of these. I can add, of course, in this case, let's say they're $12 each. Again, I can set a margin. I want to work on a 33% margin. And again, it adds it to our quote just as if it was a regular product so the customer doesn't know that this doesn't exist in inventory. And yes, so we've saved it as a non-stock item. It's going to show up on the quote. When I push this back into the ERP platform, there's multiple different options for how we handle that. We can either create the item in the ERP. We can add it in as a non-stock item. We can add her in as a non-stock order as needed, however you choose to. We have some customers that have business rules that create temporary items in the ERP platform. Not very much that we haven't encountered when it comes to non-stock items. So yes, critical part of the platform is to be able to add non-stocks just as easily as if it was a spreadsheet and you're free form entering information.
Great answer. There's also another question from Crystal. She says, if a user creates a group, are other users able to search out, use those groupings for other customers?
Great question. So the answer to that is it's slightly different outside of groups. But what we do, basically, you can select a whole group, and we do what we call create shopping lists. And so you can group items together or bundle items together as a kit or a shopping list. And you can publish that shopping list so you can make that available not only to myself, the user, next time, and I can give it a name. So I can, for example, give it a name, but I can publish it out to let other users see it as well. So if you're building out these groups or kits or bundles of items, absolutely, yes, we can maintain the components within those groups and simply add them to the quote by typing out the name of that bundle or that shopping list. Again, efficiency and effectiveness, yes.
Okay, and also, where are the product images stored?
Great question. So the product images typically come from, well, multiple sources. In this case, we're pulling them from the customer's e-commerce platform. We integrate with multiple e-commerce platforms, just to name a few: Unilog, Insight, Second Phase, CPC, Magento. All of those items we integrate with. We can also custom integrate with a PIM. So if you have an existing PIM with product images or attachments or spec sheets or items that you want to go along with the quote, we can pull them in automatically. We have integrations with platforms such as SharePoint or Box.com, Dropbox, but also we can pull even sometimes from vendors' websites. So we can pull in product images based on vendor part numbers. We have the ability to go out to third-party vendor websites as well. So multiple different sources allow us to pull in product images.
Fascinating. I'm always fascinated by these things. And then the final question I have is, oh, wait, there's more populating. So don't go away, folks. It seems like everybody has questions today.
Of course.
Do you have any customers that allow their customers to initiate a quote online and the sales team finalizes the quote pricing?
Actually, so yes, we do. Now, our user interface is specifically designed for the internal users. But that being said, we have built into our system very, very robust workflows and an API that allows, say, a third-party website to be able to enter a quote into our system, kick off a workflow that notifies the sales rep, for example, of the quote that's sitting in pending review status. They can click on a link in that email, come into WP, and absolutely take action on that initiated quote. The interface here is not designed for customer entry. There's obviously cost information. There's availability information that you probably don't want to share with customers or some customers. But the idea is that we have an extremely flexible framework that allows for external system integration using our API.
Okay, I feel like I'm on Family Feud. Good answer. We have another question here. How does WebPresented compare against SX.e's own quoting platform, PJM, Project Job Management?
Yeah, very, very, very familiar with PJM. So I'm biased, I will start off by saying, but what doesn't lie is the number of customers that we brought across from PJM. Customers that were using PJM that simply couldn't do what they wanted to do with it, couldn't make it effective or efficient, that it didn't support future upgrades of the SX.e framework, particularly into obviously Cloud Suite and beyond. So it's been a very, very smooth transition process to PJM, from PJM to WP. What we've recently, this is literally just a few weeks back, a SX.e customer out of Colorado, heavy PJM users, and it was holding up several things. They didn't want to upgrade SX. They didn't want to do several things because they were so dependent on PJM. We sat down with a focus group of their users and literally gave them access to our platform, said, do everything that you could possibly do in PJM, try to do it in WP. And obviously we won that deal. They're moving to WebPresented CRM quoting right now. So I think that really tells a better story than what I could tell. What I would say is, if you currently use PJM, if you're tied to it, it's a great tool, has its limitations. I would certainly encourage you to reach out to WebPresented, and we can give you a kind of a true apples to apples comparison and let you see for yourselves how that works.
And stay tuned because Justin, at the end of the slideshow, we will have contact information that you'll want to capture, screenshot, or jot down. He asks another question in tandem with that says, also, does WebPresented store PDFs and documents needed for a job project? Great
question. Yes, absolutely. So not only can we create, for example, individualized quotes, but we also have the ability to create job project. So let's just show for an example here. I'm going to create a new project job. And once created, not only does it create the quote, but it allows me to add multiple customers to this particular job. In this case, we've set up a new task, etc. I can upload attachments. So for example, I can have any project files that are required here. Here's some attachments, audit file, job sheet, etc., as well as the ability to freeform upload as like a project library. So it's really used like a project management tool. We have a project status tracker. So in this case, we've got 5 stages or milestones within the project. You certainly would have the ability to add those or modify that list of different phases of the project as well. Then of course, add multiple customers. So multiple bidders can be on this particular project. And of course, attachments is an integral part of the web-presented quoting job management, project management tool.
I'm always fascinated by the things I learn as the host. I feel like I've not been on an ERP for Infor, but I feel like I really begin to understand it with such greater clarity. Crystal also asked then a final question, and I swear to everyone, Crystal is not a shill in our audience today. Just want to clarify that. She says, is there a list of the ERPs that WPCRM works with?
Well, I mean, we probably could put a list together, but we've literally done in the Infor. I guess I should say that we're not. Our company doesn't just work with Infor. We've got multiple hundred customers on other ERP platforms as well. But specifically with the Infor world, we've integrated with SX.e, A+, Facts, Shims, XA, as well as Cloud Suite distribution, of course. Any different flavor of SX.e, so web UI version all the way back to version like 5, all the way up to 11 plus. And if there's an Infor ERP that I didn't just mention, there's a very good chance that I forgot about it and that we have done it. As well as any other ERP platforms from Oracle to Epicor to even QuickBooks and down to using Google Sheets as our data source. There's multiple different platforms that we've integrated with.
That's great to know. And I think also it's important to clarify, James, that if I'm not mistaken, isn't SX.e user group, aren't they on the manufacturing, not the distribution side of the equation?
XA, absolutely, in the manufacturing side. Yes, correct. Yep.
Yeah. So, it's great to know that you offer these services to, people that might have colleagues that work within an Infor or other platform that are not necessarily in the distribution segment that you can refer in your direction as well. So
absolutely. Yep.
That's great to hear. Well, right now, that's all the populated questions that we have that came up in the Q&A bubble. So if someone wants to reach you to ask more information, do a deeper dive in a demo, have an evaluation done, what's the best way to reach out to you, James?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So final slide I'll show for the day is our contact information. By all means, we're very, very happy to meet with you. Probably the best contact is this sales@webpresented.com. We will be happy to schedule a one-on-one demonstration. What I will say is that, again, I mentioned at the beginning how much advocates and fans we are of TUG. Our WebPresented as a company wouldn't be where we are without a long list of satisfied, happy customers that get value out of our platform every single day. And so while by all means reach out to us, the first thing we're going to do is say, what, we'd like you to speak to other WebPresented customers who are using this tool every day in the field, because you can't fake that. And so by all means reach out to us. We'd be happy to put you in touch with other TUG members who use our platform and schedule a one-on-one consultative demonstration that's fit for your business.
That is wonderful to hear. We're so glad that you're getting so much out of TUG. And on that note, because we do want to honor the timeline that we have today, I want to say, James, thank you so much for bringing all that abundance of information to our TUG members with regard to WebPresented's quoting process solutions, as well as with most of our webinar content. This presentation will be available typically by the next business day on our TUG website. So you can feel free if you want to go back and look at something in deeper depth, you can do that very quickly there. share it with a colleague as well. And we'd like to invite those of you who are members of the TUG organization to make sure that you continue the discussion behind the membership exclusive wall in the forums. That's a great place excuse me, for you to share information as well as get answers to your perplexing daily operational questions. Our next partner webinar is going to be Tuesday. We're taking next week off due to the holiday, on Tuesday, July 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, where Path Guide is going to share with us how to position your business to thrive with advanced VMI. So for those of you who aren't members yet, I always say, why not? Come join us. Jump on over to www.theusergroup.org and join today. And as they say in Hollywood, folks, that's a wrap.